Because this is not a motivational message. This is a confirmation. There is a moment when Allah stops testing you in silence and starts answering you in public, when everything that was delayed suddenly accelerates, when those who doubted you are forced to witness what they never believed would happen. You were not forgotten. You were not rejected. You were being positioned. What you are experiencing right now is not luck, not coincidence, and not timing. It is the divine reversal Allah promised, after patience, after obedience, after nights only He saw. The tables are turning, the doors are opening, and the power Allah placed upon your life is now active. Stay until the end, because these lessons will explain why everything is changing and why it could never have happened any sooner, before anything shifted in your outer world, before doors opened, before people changed their tone, before circumstances started bending in your favor. The divine reversal had already begun in the unseen realm where only Allah operates, because Allah never changes a person's reality suddenly without first changing their spiritual position quietly. And what you experienced as delay, confusion, isolation and pressure was actually Allah rearranging destiny at a level you could not witness, removing hidden obstacles, silencing unseen enemies, rewriting decrees, and strengthening your heart so that when the reversal finally arrived, it would not destroy you but elevate you. Because if Allah had revealed it too early, your soul would not have been ready to carry it. And this is why nothing made sense for so long, why prayers felt unanswered, why effort felt unrewarded, and why patience felt heavy. Yet every tear, every night of sabr, every moment you chose obedience over anger was recorded and activated in the unseen. And now what you are witnessing is not a sudden miracle, but the visible result of years of unseen work by Allah, because Allah always perfects the unseen first, so that when the change appears in the seen world it is permanent, protected, and impossible to reverse again. And this is why when things finally shift, they shift all at once, without warning, without permission from people, and without your explanation, because the reversal was never dependent on circumstances. It was dependent on Allah's timing, and that timing has now been unlocked. You questioned Allah in silence, wondering why those who wronged you were allowed to advance, why they were given ease while you were given endurance, why their lies seemed to succeed and their actions went unchallenged. But what you did not see was that Allah was not supporting them. He was recording them, because Allah does not rush justice when a greater lesson must be completed, and He allows oppressors to rise only to expose the full measure of their arrogance, intentions, and ingratitude, so that when the reversal strikes there is no confusion about who Allah favored and who He abandoned, and every step they took upward without humility became another step downward in the decree, because Allah never pulls someone down randomly. He lets them reach the height where their fall becomes undeniable, public, and irreversible. And while they mistook Allah's patience for approval, you were being trained in restraint, sincerity, and trust. So when everything flipped, it did not require your defense, your explanation, or your revenge, because Allah Himself dismantled their image, removed their protection, and stripped their influence in ways no human could restore, proving that elevation without Allah is only a delay before collapse, and that when Allah defends His chosen ones, He does not argue, He ends the matter completely. There were moments when you felt powerless, moments when your heart ached for justice, moments when the world demanded that you speak, explain, argue, or defend yourself, but Allah commanded patience and silence, and what you considered weakness was truly your greatest weapon, because every word you held back, every reaction you restrained, every sigh you swallowed, became a channel for Allah to act on your behalf in ways you could never have orchestrated. And while people spread rumors, judged your character, or celebrated your apparent setbacks, Allah was rearranging the scene in the unseen, exposing intentions, redirecting outcomes, and preparing the moment when truth would shine so brightly that no lie could survive its light. And now, as the reversal unfolds, it becomes clear that silence was never absence, that patience was never passivity, and that restraint was never surrender, because your quiet obedience allowed Allah to demonstrate His power in a way no argument, no explanation, no confrontation ever could, proving that those who are chosen are never truly vulnerable when their trust rests fully in Him. And the louder the world spoke against you, the louder Allah's defense became, invisible to the eyes of man, but undeniable in the unfolding of destiny that now places every truth in its proper place, every deceiver exposed, and every faithful heart elevated beyond what human comprehension could achieve. You felt unseen, unheard, and unacknowledged, questioning why every plan you made seemed to falter, why every effort appeared fruitless, why the people you trusted failed to support you, and why the world moved forward while you were left waiting in uncertainty. Yet what you could not perceive was that every delay was carefully orchestrated by Allah, not as a punishment or rejection, but as a profound act of protection, because Allah sees the entirety of your path in ways you cannot. He knows the trials you can endure, the burdens your heart can carry, and the moments when premature success would have exposed you to harm, misplaced trust, or unworthy companions. And so, He deliberately held back blessings, opportunities, and breakthroughs, not to test your patience alone, but to shield you from situations that would compromise your purpose, derail your integrity, or divert you from the destiny only to bond His. He can assign, and in this, every setback, every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every delay in provision, every heartbreak, and every disappointment was in fact a layer of divine shielding, a preparation for the exact moment when everything aligned in perfect harmony, so that when the reversal arrived, it would come not as a fleeting reward, but as a permanent elevation, fully protected, fully prepared, and fully aligned with the plan that only Allah, the All-Wise, could orchestrate. And while human eyes could only see the hardship and the waiting, Allah's eyes were seeing the unseen, removing hidden enemies, shielding you from the consequences of premature exposure, and strengthening your inner character in ways that the world could never understand, refining your faith, polishing your patience, and purifying your intentions so that when the reversal manifested, it would reveal not only the outcomes, but the transformation of your soul into a vessel capable of carrying what Allah had destined for you. And now, when you witness the doors finally opening, the barriers final, why falling, and the people who doubted your path forced to see the truth unfold, you will understand that every moment of waiting, every night of struggle, and every tear of longing was not wasted. For Allah's delay is never arbitrary, never careless, and never meaningless, and what the world called postponement, stagnation, or neglect was actually divine care operating at a level beyond human comprehension. And this is the profound reality of the chosen ones, that what seems like abandonment, delay, or rejection is often the quiet, unseen protection of Allah, a shield placed around you that preserves your destiny, guards your heart, and ensures that when the time comes for reversal, success, and elevation, it will arrive not partially, not temporarily, not conditionally, but fully, perfectly, and immovably, proving beyond any doubt that Allah's timing is flawless, His protection is unshakable, and His care for those He chooses is absolute. And this is why the delay should never be resented, never feared, never doubted, because what you interpreted as being held back was actually being held safe, and what you experienced as waiting was actually preparation, and what you felt as loneliness was actually divine presence working silently to ready you for a destiny that the eyes of man could not yet witness, a reality that only the eyes of faith can recognize, a truth that the soul of the chosen understands in quiet, unwavering certainty. And now the reversal has begun, and the proof of Allah's protection in the delay is becoming visible in every blessing, every alignment, and every open door that the world could never have predicted. Before anything in your life visibly changed, before doors opened, before people treated you differently, before the circumstances you had prayed for began to align, Allah first shifted the energy around you in ways only He could orchestrate, because the unseen world governs the seen, and before your destiny could transform outwardly, He had to adjust the spiritual currents, align the forces, and remove the hidden resistance that no eye could perceive. And this is why for so long you felt the heaviness in relationships, the tension in situations, the discomfort in spaces that once felt familiar, because Allah was preparing a realignment that would make the reversal complete and unstoppable, and what seemed like delays, obstacles, and complications were in fact signals that the energy around you was being recalibrated by divine wisdom, ensuring that when your breakthrough arrived, it would not only manifest externally, but also resonate internally, strengthening your heart, refining your patience, and confirming your trust in Allah's decree. And in this process, people who once caused disturbance, conflict, or distraction in your life began to reveal their true intentions, while those who were meant to support, guide, or uplift you were drawn closer in perfect alignment, because energy always precedes outcomes, and what is unseen is always more powerful than what is visible. And so the whispers, the resistance, the envy, the unseen opposition, and the subtle discomfort that you could feel but not explain were actually the indicators that Allah was moving the pieces, that the tides of reality were shifting, and that nothing would ever return to its previous state once the reversal was fully activated. And now, as circumstances begin to reflect the invisible changes, you realize that it was never about the timing of the world, but about the timing of Allah, and that before you could receive blessings, remove obstacles, or step into your purpose, the energy itself had to be purified, cleared, and redirected. And this is why some doors opened suddenly, why people acted differently without warning, why opportunities appeared without planning, and why situations shifted in ways that seemed miraculous, because what humans call coincidence, luck, or chance is actually the precise manipulation of spiritual energy by Allah, and those who doubted, resisted, or opposed you unknowingly became part of the process. Their negative energy turned into fuel for your elevation, their arrogance transformed into evidence of Allah's timing, and their attempts to block you only confirmed that the reversal was real, unstoppable, and ordained. And now, as you move through life with this new alignment, every step you take, every decision you make, and every interaction you engage in is supported by the unseen currents that Allah has already shifted, ensuring that your outcomes are not only favorable but divinely protected, perfectly timed, and impossible for anyone to disturb. And this is why energy must always shift first, because before Allah changes reality, He changes perception, position, and environment at a level far beyond human comprehension, so that when the world sees the change, it cannot argue, resist, or reverse it. And what you are witnessing now is the power of the unseen made visible, the divine reversal activated, and the proof that patience, faith, and obedience always precede success, and that Allah's timing and His control over energy always ensure that the one He chooses is never left unprotected, unprepared, or misaligned when their moment finally arrives. Your journey was never about comfort, convenience, or approval from the world. It was about preparing you to carry a message and a purpose that could only be fulfilled through trials, tests, and the experience of adversity, because Allah does not choose His servants to simply survive hardship. He chooses them to rise above it, to become living proof of His justice, mercy, and power. And while the world saw suffering, setbacks, betrayal, and opposition, Allah saw preparation, purification, and elevation, and every insult, every attempt to break your spirit, every manipulation, deception, and betrayal was never meant to define you. It was meant to refine you, to awaken resilience, patience, and faith, so that you could withstand what others could not. And while some moments felt unbearable and some nights seemed endless, every tear, every moment of doubt, every period of waiting, and every confrontation you endured was being transformed by Allah into a lesson not only for you, but for the world around you. Because those who witness the chosen ones are meant to see the proof that Allah is always present, always just, and always powerful. And this is why your trials were never random, they were deliberate, calculated, and divine, designed to elevate your soul, strengthen your faith, and build a character that could withstand scrutiny, opposition, and the envy of those who sought to diminish you. And now, as the reversal unfolds, it is clear that the hardships you endured were never signs of weakness, neglect, or abandonment, but rather indicators that Allah was preparing you to be a model of perseverance, integrity, and unwavering trust in Him. Because the chosen ones are never victims of circumstance, they are the instruments through which Allah demonstrates His wisdom, His timing, and His ability to elevate even when the world resists, opposes, or misunderstands. And while others may have sought to break you, they only ended up showcasing the strength Allah has instilled within you, because every challenge became an opportunity for Allah to reveal your resilience. Every betrayal became a moment that strengthened your discernment, and every loss became a passageway for spiritual elevation. And in this process, your life began to serve as an example, a lesson, and a sign, showing that when Allah chooses someone, no amount of opposition can stop the decree, no force can overturn the plan, and no human power can diminish what Allah has destined, because those who are chosen are not defined by what happens to them, but by how they respond, endure, and maintain faith while the world misunderstands, judges, or celebrates their trials. And now, as people begin to witness your reversal, your blessings, your success, and your elevation, it becomes evident that you were never a victim of circumstances, never a pawn of injustice, and never weak in the face of adversity, because Allah chose you to carry His message, to demonstrate His protection, and to show the world that the one he selects will always rise, will always endure, and will always become the example, not the victim, and your patience, your silence, your obedience, and why. Our unwavering faith have turned every past trial into a testimony, every former enemy into a witness, and every difficulty into a building block for the divine purpose that now manifests in your life, proving without a doubt that Allah's chosen ones are never broken, never abandoned, and never left to fail, because their purpose is far greater than the tests they endure. Their destiny far exceeds the opposition they face, and their elevation is the proof that when Allah chooses, He prepares, protects, and positions with perfection that no human can comprehend. And so, the reversal that is now unfolding is not just a restoration, it is a public declaration that you were never a victim, you were never defeated, and you were always meant to become the living example of Allah's wisdom, justice, and power, a proof to the world that the chosen ones do not break, they transform, they rise, and they illuminate the path for others who will follow in their footsteps, because when Allah elevates His servant, the elevation is complete, undeniable, and eternally significant, leaving no question about His power, no room for doubt about His justice, and no denial of the strength He builds within those He chooses. You labored, struggled, and prayed, feeling as though your efforts were invisible, your hard work unrecognized, and your patience unrewarded, wondering why provision seemed delayed. Doors remained closed, and blessings appeared just out of reach. Yet what you did not realize is that Allah was orchestrating the perfect alignment of rizq for you, preparing not just sustenance, sustenance with barakah, provision infused with divine wisdom, favor, and protection, because Allah never delivers what is meant for you in haste, without preparation, or without ensuring that it will be preserved. And while you were waiting, He was removing hidden obstacles, dissolving unseen resistance, correcting the timing of people and situations, and creating an environment where your rizq would not only arrive but flourish, multiply, and impact your life and the lives of those around you in ways far beyond human understanding. And this is why some blessings may have been postponed, some opportunities seemed lost, and some efforts appeared wasted, because Allah measures provision not by quantity alone, but by readiness, by purpose, and by the spiritual capacity to receive it. And the delay was never denial, it was preparation, ensuring that what arrives now is infused with His protection, that it is permanent, and that it serves not only your needs, but also the mission He has placed upon you. And the people, situations, and opportunities that resisted, opposed, or ignored you were not failures. They were part of the divine process of refining the space around you, clearing distractions, and creating a path where rizq could flow directly, unimpeded, and infused with barakah that brings not only comfort, but influence, impact, and divine alignment. And now, as you witness this reversal, you understand that the moments of scarcity, hesitation, or waiting were never signs of weakness or neglect, but indicators that Allah's timing is perfect, that His planning is flawless, and that when He opens the doors, He does so in a way that cannot be tampered with, delayed, or diminished by human effort, opinion, or interference. And every gift, every opportunity, every unexpected favor that now comes to you carries not only material benefit, but spiritual significance, signaling that Allah is honoring your patience, obedience, and trust. turning what seemed like scarcity into abundance, what seemed like struggle into ease, and what seemed like waiting into a moment of celebration and elevation. And the ripple effects of this divinely ordained rizq extend beyond your own life, affecting your family, community, and the work that Allah has placed upon your heart. Because provision in Islam is not just personal, it is interconnected with purpose, service, and amana, and the barakah within it ensures that it never becomes a source of corruption, arrogance, or distraction, but remains a tool for growth, influence, and good. And the people who once doubted your worth, who mocked your patience, and who questioned your timing are now witnesses to a reality they cannot deny, proving that when Allah blesses His chosen ones, the blessing does not merely arrive, it pursues, it multiplies, and it transforms everything it touches, because divine provision does not follow human logic, it follows divine wisdom, and when it finally arrives in your life, it confirms that the waiting, the struggles, and the trials were never in vain, that your trust and reliance upon Allah were never misplaced, and that the one who remains patient, obedient, and steadfast under testing is never deprived of what is rightfully theirs. And now, as this divine flow of rizq moves toward you, it carries not only sustenance, but evidence that the reversal has begun,